Good morning, yogis. Good morning, beautiful souls. Good morning, anybody that is here and you've been following along. Welcome back. And anybody that's new, good morning. How are you doing? Or possibly good afternoon or good evening, wherever it is that you are joining us from. And the intention here is to share a little bit of my yoga practice to help you all keep me accountable to restarting my own yoga practice and journey both on and off the mats. But you don't have to be a yogi to stop in and hang out and visit. Good morning, dear first day of Periscope. Good morning. This is a community, especially now, that is just going to offer a soft place to land for people that are looking for a little bit more peace, hope, joy, balance, whatever it is that you're looking for to add to your life that you're kind of feeling a little bit shaken off core and like it's missing right now. We are in challenging times and it will get better eventually, but right now the unknown is so pressing upon so many people, and so many people are dealing with so much adversity that it almost seems like unfair. It seems like the world is completely, good morning, first day in Periscope, like we are just pushed off our center and pushed off kilter, and we're just all collectively going, what, why, how, who, where? Like, it's like we almost need this giant sigh just to like breathe out all this toxicity and negativity. And it's hard because we're cut off from people when we're choosing to, or if we're being forced upon isolationism in a way because of social distancing, or because you're in a state where a state order is in place, or a country where a state order is in place. You're feeling collectively disconnected. And I believe through yoga, through my path, and maybe it speaks to you or not, and if you follow along and it does speak to you, awesome. Continue to be part of the journey. Check out my bio. See how more you can follow along with us in our journey. Share it out. Come back often. If something doesn't speak to you, if a yogic lesson doesn't speak to you and it doesn't apply, like you can't apply it to your own life off of the mat or your physical own life, just move on. Just let it go. Not everybody has to have the same opinions or likes or dislikes, but we can all just be open to sharing and connection and a little bit more tolerance these days. It's really hard because we're not allowed physically to get together anymore and have a yoga practice or a run or go to a concert or anything that we once did as normal before. And all we have is this little box, this little form of electronic media to reach out and to connect to one another and share either our purpose, our passion, our connections, whatever it may be, our hobbies, things that we did that was not normally our career per se, but our outlet, like our fun, our joy. And now we're told you can pretty much just have Groundhog Day. You can work, you can be home, you can not be working, you could be out in the community working, but whatever it is, wherever you are, it really collectively feels like a giant Groundhog Day. We're just doing the same thing over and over, and there seems to be not a separation of what is work, what is life, what is play, what is balance, because we're just literally like, if you're at home and you're working from home, if you're blessed to do that, like my friend said it best, like she didn't like working from home anymore because she can never leave her work, because you're in your own home, and your home is supposed to be your place of fortitude and safety and solace, but yet you're working and you're blessed, but you can leave your office and then you can go to the kitchen, but it's still your home. Your home was not made to be in a corporate setting worked in. It was made to be for your family, for your life, for your outside activities and your joy. It was made to be your downtime. And then we've lost that because these worlds have now blended. And if you're a healthcare provider and you're going out into the community and you're very much needed, and everybody here should just say extra prayers for, or thoughts or intentions, whatever it is in your belief system, for all the healthcare workers, for the police, for the firefighters, for the EMTs, for the doctors, for the researchers, for people who will get us through on the other side. I always call them the smart people, the people with the real grown-up jobs. And I'm not saying they're better or worse than us. I just tease because I never was school smart, book smart. I was more just like intuitively smart, I guess you would say. So I always found a profession of helping and service, but it was never in a capacity where I would like change the world. But maybe I could just change one person at one time in one moment of time. But collectively, I think we just need to pause and give each other grace. So that kind of falls into today's lesson of Patanjali and the Yoga Sutras. So if you're really interested in starting a yogic practice and you want to have the 8 limbs of yoga and you want to learn about it, we're all smart. Yeah, we're definitely looking inside right now, especially right now. I think this pause forces us to globally stop and breathe and pause and look within. And that's what yoga is for me. That's why I got called back to my practice and back to teaching. Because my favorite teacher always said yoga is a work in, it's not a work out. It's not like when I go for a run. It's not like when I go to the gym and lift weights. It's not a burn camp or a boot camp. It is literally, yes, you're getting cardio. Yes, you're getting muscle strength. Yes, you're working on balance. You're working on poses. But you're working in. You're going in. You're going deep down inside. And the 8 limbs basically help you go in. They're a guide, a moral compass to how to get there. And so the 8 limbs of yoga, I'm just going to go through a little bit each day and take a different limb or piece of it, and we can talk about it and see how we can apply it to our life, either on a yoga practice or just in life in general. And does it cross over, and where does it speak to you? And I kind of think of the 8 limbs, even though it's a limb, you would think of a spider web or a limb of a tree. But basically what's tying that 8 limb together is the center. It's the core, it's the whole, it's you. And so when we're in right mind and right body and right spirit or soul, whatever you believe, that core is whole and these limbs are branching out. But the limbs just are parts of it. And you can't have one really strong limb and one really weak limb, because then you're off balance and you're off kilter. And then if we're not whole, we'll fall over in the storm. And I think we're all collectively in a storm. And in my own practice, it reminds me to come back to the center, to the wholeness. And that's where this non-stealing really applies, this Yama. So in Patanjali, there's 8 limbs of yoga, and we've gone through the niyamas, and now we're in the yamas. And the yamas are more like that code of right living. In Patanjali, he kind of writes that it's more external, like a more worldly view of it, but it is also internal too, because you have to know for yourself first how to make yourself whole, your ship right, your foundation strong, whatever way you want to, what analogy you want to use for it. And you have to come back to that center. And when we get off center, even before this global collective, I don't know what we're in state, when we're off balance, say you're a kid on the playground and you're playing a pickup game of whatever, and then you're picking teams, and then you yourself that day are not feeling so hot and you just want to feel better about yourself. And so like when you're a child, what's the easiest way to feel better about yourself? A child will bully another child because they're feeling like something lost or neglectful and they're hurtful or angry in their own life. They can't use the skill sets to verbalize it and do it in a healthy fashion, so then they turn and they harm someone else. They turn and become that bully on the playground. And then that other child is sad, and then sadly enough the world says, oh, it's okay, I made someone else feel sad, now I can't feel so bad. And that's not right. That's not right living. That's out of balance living. But that's an example of non-stealing in a simplistic form. And not even like non-stealing. Yes, we all know. You don't go to the store, even as that small child. You don't go steal the sweet tarts. And, but yeah, it's true. And like if you go to the store and you want that piece of candy and your mom says, no, 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 and then you go back to the aisle, you put it in your pocket and you leave with it and you stole it, okay, stealing in the simplest of form. But how do you feel like when you're that small child and you do it? Because I'm sure everybody's done it here. And do you feel that guilt? Do you feel that remorse? Do you feel bad for your parent because your parent told you not to do it? Do you feel bad for that store owner? Do you actually take it out globally and say, I costed someone money? And these are just very simple examples as children that we all could possibly relate to. And that's all the stealing side of it. But where does that stealing come from? That stealing comes from a place of lack, a place of not being centered, a place of not being balanced, and we're trying to fill a void. We're trying to fill that hole, but unfortunately, when we operate from a place of stealing, it's usually to the detriment of ourself or someone else. And that's what Patanjali says in his Yoga Sutras and in the Yamas, that we are not to steal. Because if we're constantly stealing, we're going to the detriment. And if we're constantly in doing the opposite, now what's the opposite of to not steal? To not steal would be to give away, or would be to even show gratitude. So say like you're sad, like the example of the bully on the playground. So say like something's making, your parent yelled at you, you got in trouble, and you go to school and the teacher yelled at you and you're just having a horrible day. And all of a sudden you're just like ready to explode as that small child, and your explosion is bullying someone because you just feel terrible, and then that child feels terrible, and then that's the opposite of joy or grace or gratitude. And what if you flipped it and turned it around as that small child? What if you actually had a skill set and you had a mentor? Say you had a favorite teacher, and the favorite teacher said, oh honey, you're looking a little sad today. What's wrong with you? Can I listen to you? Can I hold space for you? That would be the opposite of non-stealing. That would be joy. That would be compassion. That would be gratitude. That would be whatever the opposite is. And that is how Patanjali says we should be living our life off of the mats. And it doesn't matter that we're shaken to a core. It doesn't matter that we live in fear. When we open up to that harmony, when we open up to that fear mindset, that is when our body and our mind, our egoic mind, just takes over, and you go to the devil you know, and it's comfortable. And then that non-stealing not only can apply as a small child, but then fast forward, become an adult in this world, and what do? We develop negative coping skills. Maybe we drink too much. Maybe we eat too much. Maybe we are on the internet too much. Maybe we are, I don't know, you can even be a bully at work. Like seriously, as an adult, have you been on a team, on a project, and it doesn't go so hot, and then you're afraid that you're going to get fired, or you're afraid that you're going to get reprimanded, or someone has been on your team in this position, and then all of a sudden the whole team atmosphere falls apart and people start like running each other collectively over with the bus? That is not right living. That is disharmony. That is causing nothing but pain and suffering, and your project doesn't get done as fast as it should or as well as it should because you're putting up 10,000 roadblocks in your way, whereas instead you all just took a collective breath and go, that didn't go the way we planned it. Let's reevaluate it and let's figure out how this project can move forward. That would be living in non-stealing. So stealing doesn't have to be a physical thing. It can be an actual emotional thing. Where are we stealing from our life emotionally? And then if we want to apply it to a yogic practice, stealing. Where are we stealing in our yoga practice? Are we stealing our time because we wake up every morning like this is my commitment and I can't guarantee you I will do it because we are human, but what if we make that commitment to have a practice? What if you're an Ashtangi? Yes, taking a deep breath and a pause is extremely important in the moment, and that will help you get out of that fear mentality and maybe into more gratitude or grateful or giving mentality, which will then take away the urge to steal, I believe. So even for your own self, if you're starting a yoga practice and you make a commitment to get on your mat every morning, like I do, I literally get up, I come here, I look lovely, I just throw clothes on, and my commitment is to do my practice. I try to do philosophy in the beginning of the morning, and then I'll actually do my own practice, and then sometimes I'll come back in and share with you guys just a practice you can play around with and have fun. Just because we have nothing but time on our hands right now, especially on the weekends. But what if I get up every morning and I finally go to sleep and I do finally forget the state that we are in, and I become in that little blissful state, and then I wake up and I'm look around and I'm like, oh, for a moment there is no virus. For a moment I'm not working from home. For a moment my life is what it was before. And then the reality of life sets in, and I can choose to be dark and depressive and just want to sit in bed and wallow. Or I can choose to say, nope, you made a commitment. The commitment is to myself. And myself is to get my butt up, to get on the mat and practice. But then, if I choose to say no and wallow, I'm stealing. I'm stealing from my commitment to myself. That's not what Patanjali wants. That's not what a yoga sutra is. It is make you whole, make you balanced, make you stronger and fortified. And so if I do get up and I do practice, it can be sloppy, it can be sluggish, it can be ugly. And I can just honor all of those words and say, it's okay. I got on my mat today. I moved my body. And then I felt like this at the beginning of practice, I feel like this at the end of practice. And then if you're allowed to actually, when you're allowed to go back out into your home studios or a gym and you're doing yoga in the community, how is stealing taking place there? And we steal a lot from our practice by getting comparison mode. So like if you go to a studio and you have a lot of crazy bendy-wendy, a lot of crazy high-flying, strong yogis, and you're just starting your practice and you're looking around the room in comparison mode going, I will never be able to do flying crow. I'll never be able to stand on my head. And you're just instantly putting yourself in that place of lack and comparison. That's stealing from your practice, because it doesn't matter what anybody's doing around you in a public studio or a gym. It only matters what you're doing on the mat, and you are doing the best with what you can with that day. And each day will be different. One day you'll be strong, one day you'll fall. It's just like going for a run, same thing. Each day is different. And not judging yourself. Judgment of yourself is stealing. Grace and gratitude to yourself is non-stealing. It's Asteya. It is the Yoga Sutra I believe that Patanjali wants us to see. We need to give ourselves collective grace. We need to give ourselves collective joy, community. In these times, you even can be kind to your neighbor and literally do that borrow a cup of sugar thing. There are so many people that shouldn't be out right now. There's the elderly, there's immune compromised, there are just, we in general shouldn't be wandering around this earth because we don't want the virus to keep going and having hosts. And there's so much isolationism with this that people are sad, people are scared, people are upset. But what if you did the thing of joy? What if you gave grace and gratitude collectively to your neighbor? What if you just stood in your driveway and just said hello? Or what if you actually picked up the phone and called your parents if you're blessed and your parents are still alive on this earth, versus texting? Or what if you FaceTime someone just so you connect and feel that joy and that love and that grace and that gratitude, and fortifying your journey and getting you out of that place of fear and lack. And if we have less fear and less lack, and we have more gratitude for what we have, then we're not going to want to steal so much. We're not going to want to be in that comparison mode, because there's no need for it. We can just be whole and centered and bright-minded and right-balanced. And then hopefully then through fortifying us right now in this time of silence and isolationism, when we're allowed to emerge in the world, it'll be easier to bring that true light forward, to operate from a place of grace and gratitude and ease and less of fear. And then as we operate that way, then we collectively go out and we're touching other people's lives, and then maybe they can see our walk on our path, and they might get a little bit curious, and they might want to say, why are you not negative? Why are you not mean? Why are you not angry? Like, why are you not? And they have all these questions. Because all these why are you nots is what they are currently feeling and filtering and having their life perceived as. And then maybe they can just befriend you, talk to you, listen to you, join your yoga practice or not, whatever it is, however you get them there. And then maybe they can learn to let go of the knots in their own life and fortify it with the wholeness, the rightness, the balance, the peace, the grace, whatever your showing them that is a mirror to them that they're wanting, but not in the comparison way. They're just wanting to be righted. They're wanting to be whole and centered and balanced. So hopefully that's a good example of non-stealing in a yogic sense, more than just a criminal sense, more than just you stole the candy bar. You can apply it both to your practice and to your walk in this life once we're allowed to get out into the world, into community. But you can also practice here on social media too. If you're scrolling through someone's scope, or if you're scrolling through someone's whatever, and you totally disagree with it, and it's against everything you are, every fiber of your being, it just makes this rage, this anger, this whatever in you, you can choose to just keep scrolling and move on and let it go. And then that person can live that life, and then you can live your life, and then it doesn't have to intersect, and you don't have to go to that place of lack. You don't have to steal anything or become that bully and hurt that person to make yourself feel like my way is right, my way or the highway. No, you can just say, I don't agree with that. We're not aligned. I choose to not let you in my filter, into my path, into my light, into my alignment. And I choose to just live this walk and live this life and fortify it and find other like-minded people out there on this journey. In the yogic sense especially, you can find somebody that speaks to you and serves you, and collectively you can fortify each other, or your practice, or the world, or your community, or whatever. But we don't have to have so much strife and division, because that's harmful, and there's so much toxicity right now in the world, and we don't need to keep layering it on and adding to it. We need to get rid of the toxicity. We need to strip it down. We need to purify and be silent. We need to sit. We need to listen. We need to breathe. We need to be non-stealing. We need to be serving in grace and gratitude to ourselves and to others. And with that, I hope you guys have got a glimpse into Patanjali, into what a Yama is, into the virtue of non-stealing, and maybe how you can apply it in your life on and off the mat. And like I said before, if something speaks to you, please follow along. Please check out my bio. Please come back. Please hang out. It was wonderful spending this time with you in connection and wholeness and ease and grace. Namaste, my friends.